I wasn't recording before. I finished Aggressor by Camille Elliot on the Kindle device. And I gave it 5 stars. I love it. Yes, there is definitely a Mission Impossible feel to it, set in Jane Austen time period. So let's do spoilers because I don't know how else to talk about it and to have this discussion. So in the first book, Lady Wynwood is a widower, is a widow. Her late husband passed away 10 years ago. The first opening scene is of that with Phoebe as the little girl who heard commotion downstairs. Phoebe is her niece. Phoebe is, at the beginning of the first book, is finding out that her father is getting married and that she is going to be basically shipped off to an aunt in Bath and in trade for the use of her coaches and horses, I think. Not something Phoebe wants, especially this is like the last year she can be in season. And she feels like she doesn't have any prospects at all. So she doesn't, back in that time period, around the time of the Napoleonic Wars, women really didn't have many rights. They were basically property of their fathers or husbands. So basically, Lady Wynwood takes her under her wing. Michael is Phoebe's perspective partner. He is involved with the Secret Service, with England's version of the Secret Service, whatever that is, and he is trying to find out information on who killed his brother, and he's trying to find that person and exact revenge. He does have his eye on Phoebe. He does like her. He doesn't want to get close to her because of his job. And because technically a man of his stature is not supposed to have a girl like Phoebe. Mostly because of her father ruining her reputation just by him being an idiot. Then we have Kiriah. I don't really know how to pronounce her name. It is Keriah. She is the chemist, who's not supposed to be a chemist. She has a limp from a childhood injury, and she was taken under... never mind, I'll come to how they all come together. So her perspective is Septimus, and he's kind of like, well, he's also in like the Secret Service type thing. He knows Michael. He has worked with him before. They meet up again in the first book. His mode of action is often running across the rooftops to get to where he needs to go, as opposed to like slinking around. So then we have Sol, who is Lady Wynwood's perspective. He's also been married before. He is a widower. And he is like the lead over Septimus. He's not over Michael yet. So we briefly meet Michael's sister, Isabella. She's important to the story. And so basically what happens is Phoebe gets involved with Michael and Septimus's business and Sol's business. And Lady Wynwood ends up becoming basically the one who's trying to keep the mom of the group. She's the mom of the group. Sol is the dad of the group. I don't know what's going on out there. And then you've got their 3 boys and 3 girls that they're trying to keep tabs on. So Lady Wynwood is trying to figure out what happened with her deceased husband. Was he part of this gang of Apothecary Jack, who is the bad guy, if you will? And they're trying to figure out what he's growing that's giving men an unnatural strength. But at the end of the first book, Michael is given the tainted root, as they called it at that time, and he becomes a berserker, which is the name of the second book. Phoebe, Kariah, and Sol and Septimus were able to sedate him with a sedative that Kariah and Phoebe had made, because Phoebe is pretty good at botany. She's not like a professional botanist, but she's apt. So at the end of the first book, we have Michael in a coma. Septimus is missing because last we heard of him, he was went head to head with one of the bad guys' henchmen. The second book. So at the end of the second book, Michael comes out of his coma finally. The problem is now he is basically addicted to the root. And if he doesn't get more of it, he does have a death sentence. So throughout that one, they're trying to find Septimus. When they eventually find Septimus, the big fight at the end comes down to basically getting Septimus out of the hands of the bad guy before he gets given the root. The one that's going to turn him into a berserker. So we've got all of our beloved characters, but we've added 2 new characters. Thorn Rosemont, who was abused by his father, previously married, his wife cheated on him, and his son was actually the child of the guy that she cheated on him with. So they're now divorced, maybe? They're not together anymore. And we find out Michael's sister, Isabella, ends up being known in the Secret Service as the Little Prince because she can dress up and look like a little street urchin. So those 2 are perspectives. And it's just great. I love it. So in this third book, they found Septimus. He's recovering, but he now has a bum leg like Kariah. And so he is helping Lady Wynwood look for more proof that her deceased husband may have been part of Apothecary Jack's gang or know something more about it. So he's helping her search the house if there's any more hiding spots for any more clues. Meanwhile, Sol has bought a dilapidated house, so that Kariah can have her stillery and work out her chemist stuff. They were able in this third book to steal some plants, of the plants that Apothecary Jack got his root from. So Phoebe is tending to those, and her and Kariah are working together to try and figure out how to slowly wean Michael off the root without him becoming, well, unalived. And meanwhile, Thorn had only breathed in the pollen, which can be toxic, so they have to wear masks when they have to deal with these plants because they're highly toxic to breathe in. And he became aggressive, and so now he's basically, his rage is to the forefront of his mind, and he's having trouble taking that down a notch and keeping it down. So towards the end fight, when they found the French group that they were looking for that was trying to steal the plants for Napoleon's use to turn his men into berserkers to basically take over the English, Thorn went off script, if you will, and ended up taking his rage out on the people in the room. So that meant all the prostitutes that were in the room, the gigolo, if you will, I don't know what they were called at that time, and the French people that were holding up in there. So he ended up having to get a sedative. And he was at Lady Wynwood's recovering. Kariah was checking on him, and the other doctor, her uncle, was coming by and checking on him as well. He's now recovered. There's talk about him making things right with his son, who's fairly young. And basically, the ending of the third book, the one I just finished, comes to a scene with Apothecary Jack with one of his partners, Maxim. And Maxim is drawing something, you don't know what, until the very end, when Apothecary Jack looks at his drawing and says, you're pretty good. You're not great, but you're pretty good. And his eyes are further apart. So he's drawing a human being. Who it is, we don't know yet. Lady Wynwood had gone to I don't know, what is the head woman called of a prostitute house? She goes to her in secret to find out more information about her late husband's mistress. And gets some more information. And that's where we discover we don't know if she was pregnant or not. But her sister, she had a sister. And in the last scene with Apothecary Jack and Maxim, that sister is mentioned. But they haven't heard from her. And they don't know. She's kind of like an unstable piece of the whole design. So the next book, probably going to have to deal with the sister. Probably going to have to deal with whoever Maxim was drawing. And it just gets more and more in depth, and I absolutely love it, and I can't wait.